Hello and welcome to the Nevada State Museum's Marjorie Russell Clothing and Textile Research Center. I am Jan Loverin. I have been curator here for the past 30 years. This facility was started in 1991 and is composed of artifacts from the Nevada Historical Society, the Nevada State Museum, as well as the Railroad Museum. This facility was named after First Lady Marjorie Ann Guild Russell, our former First Lady from 1951 to 1959. This is a wonderful facility, and we're going to start off by showing you our library, where we have approximately 300 volumes of fashion texts. Some of them are actually first editions. Our collections are extensive, about 10,000 artifacts of dress, and we're going to begin our tour there momentarily. Well, here we are in the back of our facility in our collection storage area. And I wanted to show you this magnificent wedding dress. This is a really unique piece because it is from Nevada about 1866. And we actually have a photograph of the couple, and we can see the woman, Eileen Adams, wearing this dress. You can see here that there is this bodice, the skirt, and then an alternate bodice. So this is 3 separate pieces. When this dress first came into the museum, however, it did not look like this. What was interesting and very quirky about it was that somebody had inadvertently sewn this bodice to the back of this skirt. It was weird. It didn't look right at all. It took myself and some consultants a few hours of time to really think about this. What happened to this dress? And it became apparent then that somebody else in the family had taken it upon themselves to assemble it for their use incorrectly. So we were able to detach these items and reassemble it correctly. So now this dress looks pretty similar to the photo. I'd like to share with you some of the most spectacular pieces within our collection. This particular ensemble, a 2-piece robe à l'anglaise, is from the 18th century. Now, this is the Nevada State Museum, and primarily we collect Nevada fashion. And of course, Nevada was not a state in the 18th century. But this is an exception. It is a magnificent 2-piece ensemble. You can see here the petticoat, and when I lift it over, you can see the underside is wool, and the outer fabric is silk, and it is embellished with quilting and trapunto work. It is really magnificent. The polonaise, or the overskirt, is also wonderful with this beautiful scalloped edging. Now, I have to tell you that when this dress arrived at the museum, it was not in this condition again. And we did hire CSA member Meg Geis-Mooney to conserve this outfit, and we appreciate her work and her efforts. And now I'd like to show you the most significant dress in the state's collection here. This particular ensemble was worn by Margaret Ormsby, wife of Major William Ormsby, who was unfortunately killed in the Pyramid Lake Indian Wars. Nobody really knows if this dress was worn originally in 1861 to the Territorial Legislative Ball, or perhaps it was her wedding dress about 4 years later in 1864 when she remarried. It is a magnificent piece, and I want to show you the detail work down here at the bottom. You can see that this is not a surface treatment, but rather is an integral pattern woven into the fabric. If I flip this over, you can see, I believe, the shadowing that is evident. that this pattern is woven into the cloth. It is known as a supplemental weft weave, and in French is known as à la disposition, in position, that this pattern was woven in place. When you look at this skirt, you can obviously see the discoloration of the color. And it is really unfortunate because this garment, when it first came into the museum, was considered so important and so valuable that staff had it on display. And they kept it on display for 25 years. So unfortunately, this fading is irreversible, and it is here to stay, which is really too bad because the fabric and the color is magnificent. Here is the bodice that goes with this ensemble. And you can see it's a very fitted bodice, 1860 style. And if you look up here at the yoke, it is a contrasting fabric. And we believe that this has been an alteration and not original. The detail work here on the shoulder also shows the deterioration that occurred when this was over-exhibited for so many years. And we did have the late conservator Sandy Troon work on this garment for over a year to redo this shoulder. As I turn this around very cautiously, you can see that this bodice is indeed laced up the back. Well, I've shown you the oldest known dress in Nevada, and I've shown you the most significant dress in Nevada. I'd now like to share with you the piece de resistance. This particular garment is indeed a Fortuny Delphos gown. It is a magnificent piece, as most of you will know, from about 1909, where Mariano Fortuny was able to create this fine pleating through a chemical means, not a mechanical means. This garment is clingy, it's wonderful, and I think you can see the belt here with his name on it. The story of this dress, though, is quite fun. It actually came to us through a local mother and daughter who had no idea of its value or its significance. It had been worn by a New York socialite who came to Nevada for a divorce, and then years later ended up by selling off some of these personal items. And the donor picked it up for a very reasonable amount of money, sort of like an antiques roadshow kind of a thing. And after careful consideration, decided to donate it here to the Nevada State Museum. Well, I focused a little bit on those last three dresses. Now we're going to go a little quicker. And I just pulled out some other fun, interesting textiles and costumes that I think you might all enjoy. This particular one is a magnificent jacket. And the reason I selected this is because of the label. It too is a Fortuny. It is a pané velvet embossed in beautiful, beautiful condition. The next item here is just a fun leisure ensemble created in the 1930s using the technique as a crazy quilt, as a Victorian crazy quilt. But I think it's pretty fun when leisure wear starts becoming popular. Going back a little bit, this particular ensemble is really rare because it is a cotton everyday wash dress from the 1880s. Most of us know that we always save our wedding dresses and things that we consider significant, but it's the common everyday wear that is really hard to find. And we're fortunate to have this wash dress, which was worn in Reno. Also worn in Reno at a totally different era is this very dramatic dressing gown. It is a fabulous piece edged in white ermine. The label in this dress is indeed Saks Fifth Avenue. And then I couldn't help but sort of chuckle and think that most of us think of paper as being pretty disposable. But in the 1960s, the School of Home Economics at UNR, she collected and saved paper dresses. We even have the packaging. Now, we've been talking pretty much about women's wear, and I wanted to find something unique and different to show about our men's collection. And this ensemble, I think, is fabulous. It is multi-pieces, including a cummerbund and a hat, which I cannot really feature right now, but it is the Nevada Cooties. And it was a veterans association from veterans of World War I. I think we all know the name Cooties, and here is a Nevada Cootie. We've been primarily talking about costumes, but we also have a large flat textile collection, including this wonderful flag from Fremont and Dayton. John C. Fremont ran for the presidency of the United States in 1856, and this is one of his campaign flags. We just took it off exhibit as we just created our Finding Fremont exhibit, so it's back in storage now. You'll notice that the star field in the upper left-hand corner, it is a 31-star flag in the grand luminary design. I'd now like to show you how we store some of our fragile artifacts. You can see here that not every dress is hung on a hanger. This particular one, and I will lift it up very gently, is very fragile, but it has an interesting history as well. It is one of our only few pieces that has been provenient to Virginia City, Nevada. Nevada became a state in 1864. People rushed in, and then when the mines exhausted, they rushed out. So we're always looking for artifacts that actually can be traced to our state's history. And this one was worn by Mary S. Eddy of Virginia City in the 1880s. One of our most significant collections is that of Nevada's First Ladies. Our earliest First Lady's gown is from 1909, and every First Lady since then has donated her inaugural ball gown, including our most recent and current First Lady, Kathleen Sisolak. We're hoping to put together an exhibition of these wonderful gowns that will hopefully open either this year or in the near future. Here we are in front of one of our wedding dress cabinets. And of course we have several. As I mentioned before, typically people do save their wedding attire. You can see here as you look that not every one of these dresses is white. In fact, one of the more interesting ones is this particular bodice. And I will undo this and show you what makes it unique, and that is its label. And you can see that it is an early day catalog dress from Montgomery Ward's. We also have a small collection of entertainment costumes. And of course, Nevada, and especially Las Vegas, is the entertainment capital of the world. You can see here we have some magnificent headdresses, very unique, as well as some rhinestone bras and the accompanying G-strings. And here we are with my work in progress. We're in the process of ordering new cabinets, and of course this means that we get to rearrange all of our collections. So here in front of me, I have pulled out our fur collection. You can see we have a lovely series of fur capes, as well as Kaminsky's and Stoll's, and even a muff here on the table. As you've seen here at the Textile Center, this is where we store and prepare most of our garments. But once we have them accessioned and identified, we then mount them here, putting them on the mannequins, trying them on many times, patting them out to get the correct look. Once a mannequin has been prepared and is ready for exhibition, we transport it over to the Nevada State Museum at 600 North Carson Street here in Carson City. You'll notice as you go into Nevada Stories, our recent exhibition, that there are two women's garments on display, both from about the 1920 era, as we are celebrating the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage. Also is featured a very unique flat textile on the wall, which when you look at it, you see the image of a devil and it looks sort of funny. It's actually Portland cement bags that have been stitched together to create a bed sheet. Yes, this is a bed sheet prior to having a wide loom available, and it was used in the rural mining town of Tonopah Canyon, which is in White Pine County, Nevada. Thank you all for joining me on this virtual tour of the Nevada State Museum's Marjorie Russell Clothing and Textile Research Center. For more information, please call me at 775-687-6173.